Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I just wanted to make this video. I can't say that it's going to be quick, but I certainly don't want it to be super long. So I've been thinking about this for a while because I have made videos in the past. There's one in particular that I made called My Spiritual Journey. And so I kind of told the story about how I got into witchcraft, how everything evolved for me and kind of like the course of my journey and, the different pantheons that I took, the different paths that I took, whatever you want to call it. So I just want to make a little video about how I got involved with actually doing work for people and kind of like my background, because not a lot of people know my background. I pretty much keep it private, but it's not private. Like if you go on my YouTube channel and you look in my recommended channels, right? I have my primary YouTube channel. So a couple people along the way kind of wanted me to, well, not wanted me, but they kind of instilled this thought into my mind because people didn't realize that I had a YouTube channel or anything of that nature, and which I find a little ridiculous, and I can't get the right words. There's words out there. Less bitchin', more witchin'. Okay, let's just do less bitchin', more witchin'. This is not a bitch video. This is not a rant video. I've certainly had a few of those. But this is more of like, people that seem to not know my background, or even like I'll have an Instagram and I say I have a YouTube channel. Oh, you have a YouTube channel? Oh my God, you're gonna do so well. And I've been on YouTube for quite some time. So it's kind of for those folks. So it's kind of like, who is this bitch? Okay, that is the question. Beyond the veil, behind the iron curtain, behind the curtain. Like, who is this bitch? So, as some of you already know, and some of you may not know, I'll give you a little background about me. I, originally from Ohio. I currently live in California, in Los Angeles. I have always practiced magic. It is part of my life. My mother practiced, my great-grandmother practiced. It has been in our family. I was raised around it. I was raised around ghost hunting, raised around spirituality as far as like ghost hunting and seances and seeing my mom doing magical things with candles. My great-grandmother was already passed, so I never got a chance to meet her, but I certainly heard many stories about her. So that's how I know my great-grandmother was a witch, my mother was a witch, and hence I am a witch as well. Yes, I went to the church. Yes, my mom and I were very religious. We were full-blown Baptist. It is what it is. But we left the church when I was a kid because the pastor was screwing somebody at church around on his wife, and the rest is history. But my mom always practiced, and hence I have always practiced. I can't remember a time, to be honest with you, when I didn't, but of course in my teenage years is when things really picked up. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian. Okay, so now you kind of know my backstory. I wanted to be a vet. I had it all planned out to go to Kent State University, and this is what I wanted to do, and blah, blah, blah. Then I moved to California in 1986. I moved out to California, and things kind of changed at that point. I got the acting bug. Yes, I got the acting bug. And I wanted to be an actor. And so I did that. And I have an extensive resume full of films. Maybe not so much mainstream films, but they are B-movie horror films. Some on Skinemax, as they call it, Cinemax, the late night, movies you see on Cinemax where you're predominantly more topless being chased by the killer than you are, not, that kind of stuff. Because, that's how they sell the films, is TNA, right? Not porn, just, you're topless, or you're doing, here you get the love scene like Friday 13th. And anybody that died was usually having sex in the movie. So there you go. But for the most part, yeah, I've done about 50 horror films. I am my own action figure doll. I've been featured in many, many magazines. I've come a long way. So the veterinary career kind of went to the wayside, just because that was my sole focus. And of course, I worked a number of jobs in the banks. I worked telemarketing. I've done, I worked in a nursing home. I've worked in an animal hospital. So you always have to work in order to supplement your income. So then, let's see, I was working at, God, I've worked so many things. But I was working at a hospital. I was working at a cancer center for a number of years, like 11 years. Then I up and moved to good old Arizona to become a tattoo artist, which that was a bust because the artist disappeared. What a piece of shit. It is what it is, right? And then I moved back to California very quickly after 7 months of pure hell. And then I got a job for like a month in a doctor's office, and then I ended up getting a job in a pathology lab, for which that is what I currently do. Now, how did I come about doing all this, you ask? And why this? You ask. Why? Well, okay, so witchcraft, magic, demonology, whatever you want to call it, has always been a big part of my life. So when I was in Arizona, I said to myself, I would love to have an Etsy shop and sell oils and powders and things of that nature that people could buy. And so I opened up an Etsy shop while I was in Arizona, but it was so chaotic and I was just trying to get my ass back to California that I technically didn't start loading things up on the page until I got out here, got settled, everything. So that's how I started out as far as opening up my doors, but I wasn't open yet to take on clients, okay? So I had my Etsy shop. And that was in 2018 because I was in Arizona in 2017, right? Came back out I was only there for 7 months. I came back right out the end. I already had my shop, started loading stuff up in 2018, and then was doing that 2018, 2019, because people were purchasing a lot of stuff. And I was putting it together, and then you had to finish it. But then it got to the point where I was like, why don't I just do it? Because sometimes people are they get very confused about how to do stuff. I mean, I totally get it. If it's not something that you normally do, you wouldn't do. So I was like, okay, why don't I start doing the magic for the people? Opening up the doors. So I did. I started putting on little things on my Etsy shop just to see if people would be interested. And they were. So then right away in 2019, I got my website. I opened my website up in January 2020. And then I had my Etsy and I had that, and I was doing work for people from my Etsy, and I also had my website that was purely work. On my Etsy shop, you still could purchase oils and stuff, but you also could purchase spells. So then I obviously still kept my day job, because this isn't something that I sought after to be you know what, I want to do this as a sole career, and I just want to be doing this for a living, because like acting, things, they come in waves. Things are good, and then they die down, and then they get good, and then they die down. And honestly, was in my mindset, it's I'm doing this to help people, but obviously I still need payment because spirit needs payment. And of course, as things grew, obviously, inflation and prices went up. I had to raise my prices, especially when people were manifesting left and right? And it's not a matter, okay, she's getting bigger because things are yes and no, part of that. But at the end of the day, my energy, my time has to be credited for, and my spirit has to be credited for. So after that, I ended up closing out my Etsy shop. It was this year. It just got so crazy. And Etsy, sometimes the people that come from there are a little bit antsy, a little bit like the Insta. They're almost like the Instagram crowd where they want it now. And that magic doesn't work like that. And people from my website are more calmer and more subdued, and like they understand the concept of magic and the taking of time. So I was like, you know what? I just want it in one place. Well, because I was like getting burnt after like 3 years going on 4. Yeah, going on 4. You get burnt of this profession. And I'm also still working my day job, right? So I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to work dealing with a laboratory, right? And dealing with like specimens, right? And then I come back and I'm doing, I come home and then I do my spiritual work. So of course, if I'm way super busy, I am like getting freaking burnt, but not so much burnt because I'm overly busy, but just because of the headache that sometimes the clients from Etsy can bring, because they're very much now, I have to have this done now. And I'm like, needs to be more structured. Things need to be more organized, and hence is when I shut it down. So I do have my Etsy shop back open, but I only have it because it's just tarot. And either you can purchase a live one-on-one, because I'm not doing video tarot no more, unless you're somebody really special. Otherwise, no. One-on-one live via Instagram. We do a private call. Or I do email, which is cheaper, and you only get like 3 cards or something, or like a mini reading for like, and I type it all up. Because I'm not going to do the video. It's too much. And things, I'm very much, working on my own spiritual path, and so I really don't have time to make the videos and spend hours uploading. So here we are today. Am I still doing acting? No, I haven't done acting for quite some time. Actually, after my mother had passed away in 2006, and I went from the little telemarketing job that I had into the cancer center, it just kind of changed everything, because all of a sudden now I'm working a day job. I'm Monday through Friday. Everything changes when you're not working kind of a fly-by-night job. When you don't have the liberty to be able to take time off and to be able to, fly off to go here or go there. So everything kind of changed, and my life path kind of changed. And then, of course, I moved to Arizona to change the career 100%. And then I came back, and, here I am. But now I have my full business. I really do. And this year I was actually going to quit my primary job and just do this. But then I quit my Etsy. Things calmed down. I was like, okay, I can do this. And number 2, again, I'm a little bit like, I don't want to 100% depend on spirituality, because this is my life. I live this every day. So this is not the only thing that I have going on. If for those of you who think that, this is it, this is all I do, and this is how I make my living, blah, 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 absolutely not. Yes, I do have some things on my website that are very expensive, but they are certain types of workings that require it to be more, because it's more intensive. I'm working with you longer. You're taking up a lot of my time, and I have other clients as well. So of course I have to charge for it. And depending on the spirit and depending on the type of work it is, depends on the cost too. Something, that's more heavier is going to be more costly than something light and fluffy. Okay, and something mini. I have the mini stuff, and then I have the major stuff as well.